If a government can print money, why are people still poor in real life? The clue is a hyperinflation banknote, enormous number on paper, tiny buying power in stores. Value shows up at the checkout, not at a printing press. What matters is what money buys. When prices jump and incomes don't, the same wallet suddenly covers less life. Most modern money appears when banks make loans. Deposits are created, not carved from cash piles. Central banks set the framework and price of credit, shaping how fast money can grow. Because wild prices wreck planning, central banks aim for about 2% inflation over time. Predictable, low inflation steadies expectations, so wages, savings, and contracts make sense, create far more money than goods and services, and demand outruns supply for the same stuff. When that happens, prices tend to climb, and each unit of money buys less. Picture a town with 10 sandwiches, and everyone suddenly holding roughly twice the cash. Unless sandwich making also doubles, bidding rises. That's the everyday shape of inflation. Across an economy, prices balance money, available goods, and how quickly we produce them. When output and productivity rise with money, overall prices can stay steadier even as totals grow. Sometimes, prices jump without extra money because there are suddenly fewer goods to go around. Bottlenecks, disasters, or wars cut supply. With the same demand, people bid up what's left. In crises, central banks create bank reserves and buy assets to keep markets functioning. That supports lending and payments. It isn't the same as mailing new cash to everyone. If fresh money lands in every pocket while output is fixed, spending surges into scarce goods. The line at checkout gets longer, not shorter. Prices absorb the shock unless production expands. After 2020, broad money measures jumped fast. Inflation hit a 4-decade high in mid-2022. The link isn't one-to-one. Timing and size depend on supply, demand, and expectations. Modern money holds value because people expect acceptance, backed by law and disciplined policy. When trust cracks and rules lose credibility, history shows value can unravel fast. Zimbabwe once issued a $100 trillion note during hyperinflation. Zeros multiplied, while everyday purchasing power collapsed. When faith in tomorrow's prices vanishes, people rush to spend, and shops keep rewriting price tags upward. Trust erodes when policy feels unsustainable, expectations unanchor, and money turns from a store of value into hot potato. That dynamic, more than printing presses alone, can drive runaway inflation once credibility is gone. Weimar Germany saw prices explode. By late 1923, $1 was worth trillions of marks. Wheelbarrows of notes became symbols. Stability returned only after strict new rules and a new currency. Expectations can snowball. Workers ask for higher pay, firms preemptively raise prices, and spending speeds up. Breaking that loop takes credible, sustained policy that convinces people future prices will behave. Modern currencies are fiat. Since 1971, major ones stopped converting to gold and rely on law and institutions. Notes are accepted because people expect others to accept them, backed by legal tender status and government credibility. Today's guardrails include transparent inflation targets near 2% and central banks designed to resist short-term pressure. Clear rules help households and firms plan wages and prices, lowering the odds that trust unravels again. New money doesn't hit every price at once. It arrives through specific pockets and markets first. When credit expands, first receivers spend sooner, nudging some prices before others and shifting who feels richer. Central banks pull on interest rates, making borrowing cheaper or pricier to steer demand. Lower rates tend to invite more loans and spending. Higher rates cool it, with delays and side effects. Often, financial prices move early because markets reprice quickly when money conditions ease or tighten. Grocery shelves adjust slower. Contracts, menus, and supply chains run on a stickier clock. Paychecks usually trail price changes because wages are negotiated less often than purchases. When prices outrun pay, households feel squeezed. Later, raises can catch up or firms adapt. Governments shape demand with taxes and spending, while central banks shape credit conditions. Mix them well, and support can target need without unmooring prices. Mix them poorly, and trust wobbles. The durable cure for inflation pressure is more stuff: productivity, capacity, workers, and logistics. Money holds value when policy stays credible and the real economy can meet demand without strain. What if there's slack, idle workers and machines? Extra demand can raise output before prices bite. It still needs an exit plan and supply to expand, or pressure returns when slack closes. Direct cash to households is a fiscal choice. QE creates bank reserves by buying assets. Transfers lift spending quickly. Reserves work through credit. Ongoing cash without capacity or taxes can fuel inflation. Financing deficits with bonds differs from permanent central bank money creation. If people expect debts will be monetized, credibility slips and prices can accelerate. Price freezes feel like a shortcut, but they often create shortages and lines instead of goods. Real relief comes from producing more and letting prices guide where capacity should grow. In deep slumps, the risk can flip. Prices fall and jobs vanish as spending stalls. Support can stop a slide, but a credible exit helps avoid later inflation once recovery takes hold. Inflation also depends on how fast money moves, its velocity, not just how much exists. When confidence returns and money speeds up, prices can jump unless output keeps pace. Zero inflation sounds tidy, but a tiny positive rate helps prices and wages adjust without freezing the economy. A small buffer also reduces deflation risk when shocks hit, so planners aren't stuck at the floor. Keeping grocery prices steady doesn't guarantee calm in housing or stocks. Money can pool in assets. Consumer inflation targets watch everyday baskets. Financial stability uses separate tools and judgment. Sometimes re-anchoring expectations means tighter policy that slows hiring for a while. The short-term pain can prevent a longer, harsher inflation hangover if credibility is at risk. Could you print generously and then tax the excess back later? In practice, timing is messy. Spending surges now, taxes arrive later. Lags and politics can leave prices running ahead. People read trust from consistent actions, clear guidance, independent decisions, and follow through over time. When words and deeds match, expectations settle. When they clash, prices start guessing again. So printing is simple. Making each unit hold value is the hard craft of rules, capacity, and trust. Keep that in mind before free money forever. The bill must still buy things tomorrow, not just look big today. Ask one question: will extra money bring more goods soon, or just more bidding for the same stuff? If supply can't grow quickly, printing for everyone mostly rearranges who holds paper, not what life buys. Avoid inflation only if new purchasing power is offset by taxes, reduced spending, or matched output. Without credible offsets, demand spills over shelves and into prices. Fairness goals meet arithmetic limits. Better paths exist: targeted support, safety nets, and productivity upgrades that raise supply where pressure bites. Those can ease hardship without unmooring prices, especially when paired with credible budgets and timelines. What protects value isn't slogans, it's institutions that follow rules even when shortcuts tempt. Predictable frameworks beat ad hoc printing because people plan, invest, and price with steadier expectations. The real backing is shared belief that tomorrow's prices behave because policymakers will keep promises. Break that belief with easy printing, and money turns into a race to spend first. So when someone asks, say, printing is simple, keeping value means slower money than goods, and credible rules. If a policy grows supply or has offsets, maybe. If it only adds bidding, expect prices to sprint. Short answer: printing raises paper fast. Lasting prosperity needs rules, real production, and anchored expectations. Without those, more money mostly reshuffles claims while prices climb, which doesn't solve poverty. Faster paths against hardship are education, productivity, housing supply, and fair competition, not permanent money handouts. Those expand what can be bought, so each paycheck stretches because there is more to buy. Keep two watchwords in your pocket: credibility and capacity. They decide whether new money holds value. Credibility sets expectations. Capacity raises output. Together, they tame prices without wishful printing. Those giant notes and wheelbarrows weren't quirks. They were signals that trust and discipline had snapped. Rules rebuilt and output restarted before prices calmed. That's the guardrail lesson, not a prophecy. Creation is easy. Keeping purchasing power takes time, with real supply growing faster than money under trusted rules. This is education, not financial advice. Use the test, stay curious, and watch how prices answer.